Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another YouTube show of this Enlightenment podcast. Today we're broadcasting from our Discord server, talking bad about the non-duality. Hey, there's always non-duality. The non-duality people are always so boring. They make people go to
No,
sleep.
we're not doing that.
Even
We're not
though,
doing that.
hold on, even though the fundamental reality is of non-duality, that's the emptiness of nature and existence, yet you're in a life. There's always duality. There's good, bad, evil, plus, minus, this, left, right, and that's physicality. When people say, hey, there's non-duality, it feels like they're trying to sink their way out of the human condition. Oh, it's non-duality, guys. Who cares if you're feeling bad and you're miserable? Non-duality. No, you're insulting someone, you're arguing with someone, you're making them feel bad. Let's not pretend non-duality is some scapegoat towards not making your life better. Spirituality is about making your life better. So what do you guys think about this non-duality crap?
I agree with you, but only if you're speaking about this very specific niche group of people that are pointing in the most direct way. And they're only expressing that because that's the state that they're in. And they're paying that state forward by expressing it. And to some people, myself included, at a certain stage, that was exactly the kind of message I needed. I needed to stop the mind just for a moment so that I could have an opening, and so that all the other spiritual all the other aspects of spirituality just open up. You just start exploring that, and you're just on the same path just as anyone else. You're having the same type of experiences, just framed in a different way. All paths lead to the same place, and this radical non-duality type of pointing is a very specific niche that is, in my opinion, only useful in a very specific stage of a very specific type of awakening process, right? A very specific type of spiritual experience, spiritual opening.
Yes. I'm going to make a radical change here. I'm going to do the opposite of non-duality. I'm going to go towards duality. Hey guys, from now on, everything is dual. Plus, minus, male, female, good, bad, up and down, rich and poor. We're going to be the most dual person people here. This is the Duality Podcast. Everybody, it's time to split yourself apart. Okay?
So
Anyways,
duality is equally true, right?
yes.
Because
And
and even if you come into non-duality in the way that these direct pointings point you, you will eventually, um, even if you are in this stage of I am nothing, and you actually identify with that, and you start saying only that, and you start speaking this non-dual speak by never mentioning the word I or I am or me, or you start speaking in the third person and everything. Even then, at some point, you will realize, hey, I still have a body, I still have an experience, I'm still here. There's still stuff happening, and then it's just a next opening into the next stage of however that person, the next sort of thing that he's attracted to, and that's the next path that he's walking, until that's seen through or worked through, and then there's another path, and it's the same for everyone, right?
yes,
We
yes.
all came from somewhere,
I'm trying to
and all
understand.
paths lead to enlightenment, whatever that is, because it's just a word, right? It's a moving goalpost. Every time someone claims they have it, the next person comes along and starts arguing and arguing, like we were just discussing before the recording started. Arguing and conflict energy is only in the mind.
Yes. What I would respond to that is there is no such thing as duality. I was going to say non duality, but that's not true. There's no such thing as non duality because there's no duality in the first place. Show me where's duality. Good, bad? No, that's one thing. Positive and
So,
negative? That's also one thing. All the energy in the universe is one thing. You know what else?
What? Wait.
Talking about
Hot
non
and cold?
duality, talking about
Up and
non.
down? Wait,
Yes, yes,
what?
what?
Up and down, hot
non-duality
and
is
cold?
just an
What?
Same
aspect
thing,
of the
same
entire
thing.
How?
thing. It's not a complete teaching.
So,
Non-duality
talking
No,
is
of
about.
not a
course.
complete teaching. I'll be the
No
first to
teaching
admit
is
that.
complete. There are no complete teachings,
Exactly.
bro. Every teaching is in
Exactly.
itself empty.
So, this talk of non duality is good for people that are suffering and struggling with their mind. Hey, there's no duality, there's just emptiness. Oh, and your mind becomes peaceful. What I'm interested in is how to make the human condition better. And that requires duality. That requires you working with the energy, not sinking into the emptiness. If you want emptiness, this is the wrong place to be, my friend. Both, micro and macrocosm. So this is about being full, guys. You're alive. Hello. We're gonna go to Bali. Everybody's invited. We're gonna stay in a hotel, swim in the ocean, eat some nice fruits and vegetables. Let's go. Hey, well, what about non-duality? Screw non-duality. Leave it alone. Leave it at home. You don't need it.
I think true well-being requires an understanding of duality and non-duality, and seeing that both of them are just paradigms that can be useful depending on what context they're used and seen from.
I agree.
I'm still at the intro where you define non-duality as like disassociating from reality. Who told you that's what it was?
That's I think how it feels sometimes when people say talk about non-duality. It's like, oh, my life is so painful and poor and bad, but hey, there's this non-duality space, and it's like so comfortable where nothing exists. Yes, that's true, but hey, time to make your life better. Not sinking into non-duality. You're non-duality, but you're living in a one-bedroom apartment, and your sink barely works. Oh, you're so non-dual. No, buddy, time to get into more duality a little bit. Okay? That's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Further on.
I think there are people that know the language without the experience, and it looks a lot like that. I actually also think people are just
Those people are
disassociating. They're actually
dangerous.
disassociating. They're trying to map the language that they don't have the experience, and they are actually disassociating. But I haven't heard anybody that's like a non-dual teacher that I respect that doesn't talk about it as coming into the deepest possible contact with reality, the whole process. And that's been my experience as well with it. That it's not you're not rejecting any piece, right? That's the actual path of it.
Yes. Okay, I see that.
Yeah, if I
Absolutely.
can give a reflection as well.
Mm.
Um, so my path, right? I had pretty much a spontaneous shift into this non-dual state. Only I didn't know what it was because I had no context. I'd never uh, explored spirituality or even dared to explore it because my family was very much against anything that was non-physical, let's say. So that's where I come from, right? And after that, see, to me, it's just the path in reverse. It happens, you're there, and then you're figuring out what's happened to you and everything. And in that process, you're exploring all sorts of spiritual paths without bias, because to you it's all interesting because you just want to know what's going on. And to me, uh, at least how I experience, or for speaking about my own experience, it leads to a very broad sort of, and not very deep, I admit, in many traditions and many sort of paths, because I see the similarities in all, and I see from the start, or from as soon as I started seeing that, I see all paths are basically saying the same thing. So now it's about which messages resonate with me most, which sort of things that I come across uh, work for me, practices and stuff, and I'm just going to do those. I'm just going to pick and select what's exactly right for me. So from my perspective, this can be a perfect and complete path, and including exploring all other paths, because it's just so beautiful to hear the truth expressed from so many different um, angles and perspectives and cultural contexts, and even different eras of time, right? And mythical stories, and everything points back to this. Everything, because it is all this. It is all one thing, like you said,
Mm.
and it's also nothing. It's both and nothing
Yes.
at the same time, and that's the fundamental paradox of existence.
I think I've reached the conclusion of my spiritual journey, and I want to renounce spirituality. Guys, I'm no longer spiritual. This is the first
You
day.
don't have to.
I'm quitting spirituality. No more.
You have to stop believing in it.
I want to be more worldly. I want to be in the world. I want to be ignorant. I want to not know things again. I want to be confused. I want to live like a regular person.
I love that.
You're such a funny character. I love you so much, man, Shiva.
I love you too.
You're so funny.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm stepping into the archetype of not knowing and being a dumb person on the internet. I want to flex and show how much I don't know to all of you, how much more I don't know than all of you. My not knowing is way better than yours.
Oh no, don't bring the conflict into it.
I'm just joking. I'm just trying to make a joke.
Drop that.
But yeah, it's been enough spirituality, and I want to be more material and have material pleasures and have all the fun and sex in the world. And that's what I'll do.
But at least it's
Isn't
honest.
non-duality?
Honestly,
Isn't non-duality
it's
just no
That's-
thing
that's the
experiencing
ritual.
a bunch of things? No experience of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that, yeah.
Somebody once asked Sadhguru, how do you prepare for death? And he said you have to live well. So I think in a lot of ways he would agree with that. You know, you gotta live a good life. You gotta do things. You gotta experience everything. But it's just maybe learning to have easy access to like a meditative or non-dual state where you can enjoy the nothingness, and you don't. If you have access to it when you want to, then it's probably quite a nice thing to have.
Yes. What's nice about this is that I feel like I've laid down the foundation for my life with the spiritual nonsense. I've done this for basically 10 years of my life, and I really did something inside. And now it's time to live it up. It's time to blast my life energies forward to such a high fire. Let's just go. Let's just start burning.
Yes. And this has been my
Be
point.
in this
This
world, but not
entire
of it.
call I've been here. Just choose your highest passion and pleasure and joy, because your only job here as a human and as a spiritual being is to love yourself. Self-love is the highest spiritual teaching. No question.
Yeah.
And if you can fully choose that and accept yourself and love yourself and forgive yourself and everything, that's when it really, really, really gets off the ground. You won't believe it. Actually, you won't believe it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Shiva, there's this Christian mystic that I read for a while early on in my journey, named Father Richard Rohr, and he has this really cool teaching that I think maps to what you're talking about. That there's this pattern in nature that's order, disorder, reorder. And so we go through these phases of, like, as children, we're being ordered and structured by our families, and then we just blow it all apart, and then something else comes back together that's more expansive. So this feels very disorder mode for you. Good time to throw off the
Yes.
shackles and blow it all apart and see what comes back together.
Yeah, I resonate with
And
that a lot.
I'd like to point out too that that process keeps repeating itself
Yeah.
in faster and faster cycles, and that's how the spiral goes upwards. And that's when we love ourselves, right? We can't help but love everyone else. If you're happy, why would you? It doesn't even come up to start to argue with someone. You can disagree, but then you can have an interesting discussion that elevates you both in wisdom and in expressing, and it helps you release stuff, and it helps everyone grow. If you just stop seeing this versus that, this and that, me and that, me and them, that's what you're pointing, really.
Sadhguru talks about going for longer cycles. Cycles being of 3-year cycles, 6-year, 9-year, 12-year. The longest cycle, one of the longest cycles is 12 years, which is a sun cycle. And he says if you repeat short cycles, you'll go mad. And lots of people are repeating short cycles because not enough control over their mind. But the longest cycle, one of the longest cycles is 12 years. And how do you enter that? Well, the sun is spinning. It's creating energy on the planet. The energy of the sun is like right here. You attune yourself to the energy of the sun. And that should give you a kind of calming feeling. And things can progress over a long period of time and it gives you lots of room to make decisions so that you're not burdened with life with very fast intervals of things appearing in your life. So, yeah, I'm noticing things repeating in my life. People are coming back into my life. The cycles are continuously repeating. And I'm sure all of you are experiencing the same thing. In fact, once I released my energy a few days ago, lots of people had similar experiences. So the cycles of the planet are changing and everybody's falling into the same things in some ways.
Yeah, man. I mean, to me, from my perspective, right? You're already living your dharma. You're doing the work. You're the center of this whole thing. This whole vortex of people that get sucked into this by whatever it is. Perhaps the conflict, perhaps the non-seriousness about spirituality, perhaps the whatever trigger draws them in, right? Because that's your power, and you're a trickster, and you're basically tricking everyone into opening themselves up here and pushing them in terms of triggering them either by watching or being in the discussions or whatever to open up their voice, let themselves be heard. And that's how they discover that they can trust themselves, that they know more than they thought they knew. You know, all the tricks of the mind start falling away. You just start, sorry, stumbling. You just start seeing through them. And in that way, you at some point you just start seeing there can't be a problem. This moment, this eternal now, is perfection, and everything that's playing out, everything is sort of codependently with each other, arising and orchestrating itself perfectly to form your experience, my experience, everyone's experience at the same time, and even not inside time, because it's eternity, right? Eternity is outside time. Time is in the mind, linear time at least.
Yeah. I want to say that I'm very appreciative and grateful for all of you being here. I'm here for you just as much you are for me. I don't think you're really here for me. You're here for yourselves. But I'm here to create a space for you and for us all to enjoy this. And primarily, I'm not here to ban people. I will not ban people. Even if somebody comes in and belligerent and berating and rude and obnoxious and everybody hates him, literally everybody hates him, I will not ban them. Unless they do something dangerous or severe. Because I'm here to... We all need to learn how to deal socially. We all need to learn how to approach these people. And they also need to learn. So no banning unless you break some severe rules of like, spamming or some kind of... Yeah.
Yeah.
But not for anything else.
I think you got the transmission, Shiva.
I've got the what, sorry?
The thing is, I think you got the transmission, is what I said.
Oh, yes.
There's no, everyone's learning, right? You included. And everyone's teaching, because everyone has their own unique perspective on this thing and on their own personal spiritual path, and all the experience that they have gathered and all the wisdom that comes from that. So everyone is teaching and everyone is learning. To me right now, in my direct experience, the words that I'm speaking are teaching me and potentially anyone who hears it, right?
Yes.
So if you can try to, you can trick the mind in trying to adopt this perspective, that will sort of accelerate it for you, I guess. But you really don't need to, because you only have to trust your heart and your voice and what you know is true, what you know to be true, which is the oneness, which is and the nothingness, or either or either side of the coin that you have experienced, what it is to you. It's always true, because you have experienced it, and there is only experience in terms of the first person perspective. You only have your own experience. The rest is mind stuff, if you try to think that you know more than your current experience. So if you're thinking about the future, that's bullshit. If you're thinking about the past, that's bullshit. I mean, the past a little bit less because it's based on your personal stories and memories and stuff. But you can see that that's not here in your current experience, right? You can see it, you can hear it, you can feel it, you can smell it, you can taste it. It's not here. It's a story in the mind,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be there. It's not a problem, but you just have to. Or I want to stop saying have to, because no one has to do anything, right? You're already on your perfect path, and it's already unfolding the way it's that you planned it before you came. So
Yeah.
there's no have tos. Even when I say have to, there's no have tos.
Yeah, let's close this video off for YouTube. Anybody has any last words to say about non-duality or anything else we discussed? We'd love to hear
I just want to say I love you.
You need
and
to keep us
everyone.
updated on your collapse into hedonism.
it. Yes, we'll do.
I think you should do like an initiatory ceremony and record it as well.
Yeah.
Like really step
Do
into it.
whatever you're
with
doing.
fervor.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Maybe I'll
working.
do a podcast in the nightclub or something. All right, that's it, my friends. Thank you so much. Goodbye.